Hello, Miss Aunt Germain again. It is Wednesday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's video is about numeracy, so we're going to be talking about counting, numerals, and comparing numbers. I'm going to tell you that I have one kid still doing school. I have two kids playing, so it is likely to be noisy, and it is likely that I'll be interrupted. Just know that. This is just life right now. I'm going to start by telling you how we teach math in kindergarten or in early childhood in general. And I'm going to be using these same words over and over and over and over again in every single one of these math videos because it's how it's done. So I just want to kind of explain it here in this first one. We teach math by starting with concrete, moving to pictorial, then moving to abstract. And what that means is that this is 3. These things that I can see and feel and touch and smell, they are 3. This is 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. Concrete. Or we call it objects sometimes, like with objects, with things, with math manipulatives, beans, cereal, whatever you have at your house. Objects. Concrete. Then we move to pictorial, which would be this. Look at these hearts. 1, 2, 3. 3. Same thing. That 3 is the same as this 3. So concrete, pictorial, abstract. That's the symbol. Kind of like when we talked about how sounds, like how letters are the symbols for the sound, numbers are the symbol. I want them to understand this is 3. And I want them to have that vocabulary. This is 3. I want them to be able to say, this is 3, 1, 2, 3, count the 3, before I'm ever worried if they can recognize the number 3. I hope that makes sense. So that's concrete, pictorial, abstract. That's how we teach everything in math. Every concept in math is taught in that way. So I give that gift to you. I'm sorry that I'm going to say it a million times in every single one of these math videos, but it's important. So the first part of this video, I'm going to be talking about counting. The big objective in kindergarten, as far as counting goes, is by the end of the year, I want them counting to 100. You might be saying, my 3-year-old's been counting to 100 for a long time. Cool, great. If your 3-year-old comes to me in kindergarten and they can already count to 100, I'm like, fantastic. Let's make sure we can make it to 200, and I think that you understand the pattern of how this goes. So we build on it. I meet them where they are. It's okay if your kid comes to kindergarten and knows some of the things, but that's why I'm telling you, by the end of kindergarten, I want them to know how to count to 100. I want them to be able to do it easily. I want it to be like just breathing. That is the end of kindergarten. We start by saying, I want you counting to 20. I want you counting to 50. I want you counting to 100. I want them counting backwards from 10. I want them to be able to start at 10 and count backwards. I want them to be able to start at 20 and count backwards once they get there. It's hard, y'all. It's hard. I want them to be able to skip count. I want them to be able to count by 2s. My goal was always to get them to count by 2s to 100. A lot of kids do not make it. It is really hard. My minimal goal is count by 2s to 20. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay? I want them counting by 5s and by 10s to 100. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, all the way to 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way to 100. The reason skip counting is so important is because that moves us into being able to count money. And that is a really big first grade objective, is being able to manipulate coins and count money. And if your child is really great at skip counting, it makes that transition really easy. Okay, when you're practicing counting with your kid, you might notice that they really struggle going from a 9 to a 10. So like from 9, 10, 19, 20, 29, 30, 39, 40. Those are really hard. It's called, the way we call it, crossing the decade. But it is a really difficult skill, and it's something that takes a lot of practice. It's super okay if your kid goes to 39 and moves to 70. Correct it. Nope, 39, 40. And then usually they do pretty okay. 41, 42, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. And then they'll be like 80. And they'll be like, no, 49, 50. Super okay. I suggest, I always tell my parents, count in the car, count wherever you are. It's one of those, just like those pre-reading skills, it can be done anywhere. It is just practice, counting, counting, counting. Subitizing. This is kind of a weird thing. You may or may not have heard that. That is where so when you're counting, I want you counting at home. I want you counting with objects. So counting kind of comes in two ways. I want them just doing it so that they understand the pattern of the numbers and are memorizing the pattern that the numbers go in. But I want them first, more than anything, doing it concretely. I want them doing it with objects. My suggestion is to get out a cookie sheet and put cereal on it, beans on it, whatever you have at home. It doesn't have to be fancy. I have popsicle sticks, so that is what I have. And use those. 1, 2, 3. I teach the kids to move them and count. I teach them to line them up and count and keep count. We're looking for one-to-one correspondence. That means when I have like a series of things in front of me, like if I have a bunch of these in front of me, that I'm not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That 1 means 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is really hard when you just have a pile of something in front of you. So if you just have a cookie sheet with beans all over it, that's why I teach them to move the beans, like push them to one side and move them 1, 2. That helps with one-to-one correspondence. Also lining up helps with one-to-one correspondence. 1, 2, or putting them in a line and then counting. All of that is helping with understanding that this one thing, it's one-to-one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so one-to-one correspondence is really important. Now subitizing. This is when you're moving into pictures. I'm actually going to attach tag a couple of videos down here in the notes section for subitizing, because I have a couple that I watch a lot in my classroom that help with this. Subitizing means I want them eventually to be able to look at a picture of things and know very quickly that is what number that is without having to count them. So I want them, we use dice to teach this a lot. I want them to be able to look at that and just say 5 and know that that's 5 dots without having to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I use dice to teach this, but it doesn't also have to be in that it can be like 1, 2, 3. I want them to be able to look at this and say 5. I'm not going to go super, super into that, but that's another piece of counting. So like that's another way if you're working with your child at home and putting a series of things in front of them and just having them, it's usually less than 10. Like I just want them being able to do it quickly with numbers less than 10. Okay, that's counting. I hope that makes sense and I hope that that's helpful. Numerals. So once we're moving in to that abstract, like if your kid is counting pretty well, their one-to-one correspondence is pretty good, they're able to recognize pictures and count pictures, then we're moving into that numeral territory. In kindergarten, I want them being able to recognize numbers to 20. Of course, if they can do that, then the numbers are much higher. I really would like them recognizing numbers to 100, but minimally, they need to recognize and write numbers to 20. When we're writing numbers to 20, you might find that your kid is flip-flopping numerals, or like they'll write things backwards, like instead of 3, they're writing 3, okay? Same thing with letters. It's not anything to be super alarmed about in kinder. It is a highly typical thing that kids do in kindergarten. It's not anything that flags. I don't flag them and say, oh my goodness, I'm so worried about this kid. It's super normal. I just tell them, hey, your 3's backwards, and then we fix it. That's it. In kindergarten, that's all I'm doing. If your kid is in 2nd grade and still doing this, then we can talk. But I'm talking to parents of pre-K and kinder and maybe some 1st graders. Just correct it. Hey, they do this a lot. This is when they do a lot. 7 is backwards. Flip it. Yeah, it goes on the other side. It goes like that. That's it. I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't fuss at them. Just flip it. I want them writing the numbers to 20, 0 to 20 correctly. I want them recognizing all the numerals to 20. This is really important. The way to practice this at home is just practice. There's like a million things that you can download and practice writing numbers. But I want them also matching the number to a value. And so writing the numbers on flashcards or getting flashcards, guys, these are all things. I have a whole basket filled with number flashcards from the dollar spot. Target is really great. Guys, hot tip, go to Target in July and August because they have all the things and they have fantastic, their dollar spot section has fantastic manipulatives and games and things that your child can do that are usually right at this pre-KK 1 level. Like I have baskets filled with this stuff from Target. So it's not even a plug. I'm not getting paid for any of this. That's what I would suggest doing. Any kind of number game stuff from there, I love it. It's the best. Okay, matching a number to an object. So like I'll have like beans or these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's 6. Find the number 6. 6 and 6. We're matching the number to the value, matching the number to a picture, being able to say, having pictures of like 2, 3, 4, and then being able to write 4. We're matching the picture to the numeral, okay? That's the next step. Number flipping is okay? Yep, okay, great. Okay, last one. Now, guys, I have to say, I don't have, the stuff that I use to teach this with is at school, but you don't need anything fancy for this. The next part of numbers that I really want to talk about today is comparing numbers. So once your kid is really comfortable with one-to-one correspondence and really comfortable with understanding that this number 7 has this value, that 7, what the number 7 means, and we have moved into abstract, then we really work on comparing numbers. When we're comparing numbers, one of the tools I use is a number line, which you can totally just write on a sheet of paper. I usually start with 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So when I'm comparing numbers, I might say, hey, 2 and 4. I'm looking at 2 and 4. Which one is more? So when I teach them that, we circle the numbers, okay? And oh, look, 4 is this direction over here. So that means 4 is this way on the number line. 4 is more. 2 is this way on the number line. 2 is less than 4. Okay, so that's when we're really, really moving into abstract thinking. You can do the same thing, like this we start with doing with objects. 2, 3, and 1. Which one has more? I usually use food analogies for my kids, like, do you want 3 cupcakes or do you want 1 cupcake? Always 3. They always want the more one. So we start with objects. Then you move into pictures. I'm sorry, I should have started with that first. Then you move into pictures, being able to recognize which one has more, which one has more, which one has less. And then the same, maybe they have, then we talk about same, more, less, same, or equal, okay? Once we're really good with this concept, we can do it with objects, we can do it with pictures. Then I totally did this backwards. Then we introduced it on the number line. Then we also are doing it when I'm using numbers, so I'll say 4 and 8. So I hope they're clear. I hope you're able to see some of these. 4 and 8. Okay, so that's when we talk about the alligator. Which one does the alligator wants to eat the bigger number? So instead of just, this is the symbol that we use as adults, I call the symbol the alligator because the alligator wants to chomp the bigger number, okay? So 4 is less than 8. So we set it up like this, we do the alligator, and then it's like I call it a number sentence. We read it. 4 is less than 8. Okay? 4, 2. Oh my goodness, which one does the alligator want to eat? The alligator wants to eat number 4 because it's bigger than 2. Okay? 4 is greater than 2. Okay? This is comparing numbers. Start with objects, move to pictures, move to the numbers, the symbols. I want them being able to use more and less and equal, same, when I'm talking about numbers, during the first semester of kindergarten, but I want them being able to compare the numbers. I hope this video was helpful to you. Comparing numerals and counting. Do the best you can, guys. I know that this is hard. Please don't feel like you need to teach all of the things. You super don't. I want you to know and trust that your teachers know. I mean, none of us know what's coming next year, but we know that like this year has been insane. So we know that next year's going to look different. For the beginning of next year's going to look different than it's ever looked for us before. So please trust and know that like you can take a break. Don't stress about what your kid is and isn't going to know. We're going to figure it out, okay? I hope these videos are giving you some concept and understanding of how, like, if you want or are able to work with your kid at home, it's helpful to you. But I also don't want these to create stress for you. So let me know if you have any more questions about this. Comment below and I'll see if I can answer for you. Tomorrow, I'm hoping to get out another video. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your Wednesday afternoon and a good day tomorrow too. So, thanks so much.